Let's get into position for the dumbbell floor press. The first thing we actually need to go over in this case is actually how to get the weights up safely. So there's 3 different ways. Basically, you see what feels the most comfortable to you. The most important thing is to keep your body safe when you do these things. Sometimes as you work up to a heavier weight, it gets harder to get into position safely. So all of the 3 ones I'm going to show you will probably work well for lighter weights. The first thing you can do, which I think will probably work best a lot of the time, is while you're sitting, you will put the weights in your hip creases like this. Then you're gonna roll back into position, and then you'll put your elbows on the floor and then raise the weights into position, okay? Like that. So that's the first way. That is the way that I would say is best to do with a heavier dumbbell from my experiments with it. The other way you can do it, which would work well for a lighter weight, is to have the dumbbells by your hips, roll down into position first, bend your knees, and then grab the weights again. Your elbows are on the floor, and then grab the weights up like this, and then get into position. The last way to get the dumbbells up is actually where you would have the dumbbells to the side. So normally your dumbbells wouldn't be quite this tall, but you would actually start on the side. So you'd have them here on your side. You'll roll over, kind of keep your elbows in close to your body to keep your shoulder joints stable. And then you would grab them to your chest, and then you would roll into position. You see that? And by keeping my arms in close to my chest as I roll, I don't have, heavy things pulling on any joints in an awkward position. Does that make sense? And then you can get into position that way. So those are the 3 ways to get the dumbbells safely up. Hi, I'm Razel. If you're a woman in your over 40s and almost 40s like myself, you like my style of teaching, and you'd like to learn how to do resistance training at home safely with in-depth tutorials, as well as workouts with chill music, just go to my website at inspirefulwomen.com. Let's get into position for the dumbbell floor press. You will get the weights into position depending on which way was comfortable for you from how I showed you. I'm going to do it like this. You're going to lay flat on your back, bend your knees, feet flat on the floor, a comfortable distance apart. You're going to pull your shoulder blades in and down the back. So I'm going to put my weights down for a second. The goal is to have the weight of your body and the dumbbells resting more on your shoulder blades by pulling them in and back versus having them on the softer bones of your ribs on your back, okay? So instead of like this, we're pulling those shoulder blades down and back. Okay, nice broad chest. When we do this and draw our belly button into the spine, we'll have a neutral spine, which means that you should have a small space in your lumbar curve down here. You should be able to kind of stick your hand in here, okay? So it shouldn't be flattened where you can't get your hand in. And it also shouldn't be hyperextended with our ribs sticking way up, okay? So shoulders down and back, draw the belly button into the spine. You've got your weights here, right? However you got into position with those. What you're gonna do is you'll take your upper arms out from your body about 60 to 70 degrees. I'll show you from another position in just a little bit. Then you'll take the dumbbells, move your hands out over your elbows. From there, make sure you still have those shoulder blades down and back. Then we'll go ahead and do the movement. So from here, you're going to start pressing straight up. Your upper arm is going to come in line with your shoulder, and your hands will come in. Now, depending on how wide your dumbbells are, you can kind of almost touch them in the middle here. So your hand may be up in line with your shoulder joint, or it might even be closer to the midline of your chest, and that's fine. Squeeze at the top, and then slowly lower back down to the starting position. So at the bottom here, your hand is kind of right over your elbow or just a little bit in, about 90 degrees or a little over 90 degrees bent. So then we're going to push up a little faster towards the middle of our chest, squeeze, and then come back down. Press up, squeeze, slowly lower. So let me do a few for you now. From this angle now, you can see, so here, hopefully from this angle, you can kind of see where my elbows, my upper arms are in relation to my body. So they're not in close to my torso, but they're quite a ways out. They're not exactly, you know, 90 degrees, but they're quite a ways out. You can see I bring the dumbbells here out kind of over my elbows. My palms are in what's called a pronated grip, so your palms are facing forward towards your knees. From here, remember to pull your shoulder blades down and back. And the goal really here is to focus on the arms. So what that means is try not to grip your lower body and your core too much. Like try to keep your lower half a little more like not involved, just they're there and relaxed. You do have your belly button pulled into your spine a little bit, but it's not a like serious gripping. From here, you're going to push up, your elbow will straighten, and at the top, squeeze, and then slowly lower. To come out of it, there's a couple ways to put the weights down safely. So the first one is you can do that rolling to the side thing. So holding the weights close into your body, kind of tuck your elbows to the side of your body, hands as close to your body, weights resting on your chest. And then you can roll sideways over to put them down, okay? So that's the first way. The second way is to rest your elbows on the floor, bring the weights to your hip crease, and then sit up from there, like that. The other thing you can do, depending on, again, how heavy the weight is, you can have your elbows on the floor and just lower the weights like this. Like that will work for a lighter weight, but I probably wouldn't do that with a heavier weight. And you'll know it'll like not feel good on your elbows, so just definitely gauge it by what feels comfortable. Yep, that's it. One thing I wanted to show you real quick, I'm just sitting up because I think it was hard to see in the camera, was where my elbow, my upper arm here was in relation to my torso. So this would be considered 0 degrees, and then like this would be 90 when your elbow is parallel with your shoulder. So it's supposed to be around 60 to 70 degrees. It's not an exact science, but basically it's fairly far away from your body. I would say like somewhere in here. Does that make sense? So you would be kind of in this position, but then laying down, right? And then pressing up. So I just wanted to, so you could kind of see that. Thanks for being with me today, ladies. Once again, I'm Rizal. If you're liking my style of teaching, you like having more in-depth tutorials about resistance training, you wanna see full workouts using these sorts of movements, come on over to my website at inspirefulwomen.com.